video.
Yep. Hello. Oh my goodness. Welcome.
You
Oh,
just
Bright
like the
Hawk.
video? What just happened?
Yeah, for some reason you're blacked out. Man, we are having technical issues today. Let me just say, my friends, boy, we are having some weird stuff going on. We have everything from some pages throwing back saying no, 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 to obviously Bright Hawk's camera not working quite correctly. Um so so thanks for tuning in though. Thanks for tuning in to the Astrology podcast. I'm gonna try to add Bright Hawk again. There we go. A little bit better.
No.
Well, I can at least see you. There you go. Now I can see you. Welcome, Bright Hawk. I'm glad you're here. Okay. It has been a technological mayhem. I'm wondering if it has something to do with the eclipse. You know, Bright Hawk, I was just looking at today's chart and I was like, look at Mercury. It is right across from the moon in Pisces, and it's right up against the sun. And I was just like, wow, like I wonder if that, Mercury has a lot to do with communication. Usually it kind of messes with things like in the department of when it goes retrograde or something like that. It will sometimes mess things up. You're right, Bright Hawk, I didn't start the video. I'm sorry. Hey, Alyssa. Good evening. Hi, Mystic. Hey, Roblox. What a name. Anyway, it's good to have you all with us today. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're tuning in. And how's this eclipse been treating you? That's the first thing I want to say. Hi, Nelia. Hi. How's the eclipse treating you? How was this weekend? How did you do? The lunar eclipse was in Pisces, and hopefully you all experienced a really good turnout, or maybe it was less impactful than you thought. Maybe some good things happened. Maybe some surprises came up. Uranus definitely was a little bit part of the story this time while it's going retrograde, and the things that we talked about last week. So it's just like to review that. So I'm glad you're all here. Hi, Donna Carter. She's feeling alive again. That's an excellent thing. Welcome. So, welcome everyone. I'm Hollis. This is Bright Hawk now that she's got her camera.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there, why it keeps darkening. Like, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. I don't know what setting I have on that's making it do that. So I've checked everything. But hi, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Doing the best we can. Integration post-eclipse. That's definitely a theme for this week. The sky's definitely not as intense and dynamic as it was last week. Let us know in the comments how your week is. How are you now? We're right now in the middle of a void moon. We'll get to the charts in a minute. So I had to laugh when I was putting the charts together and realizing, yeah, of course we're doing the broadcast in the middle of a void moon, which just means there's less moon drama energy, which is fine. You know, that's cool.
Except for this.
And it's been kind of weird trying to get this to, work normally. We have a lot of Uranian energy going on in the sky, if you haven't noticed. And Uranian energy means surprise a minute, right? Everything's just going to be a surprise because you just don't know how things are going to go. So there we go. Thank you so much for being here. How you doing? Are you feeling the void? And the void is when the moon is changing signs. And so it's that moment where the moon is moving out of watery Pisces, where it had the full moon in Pisces, into Aries, the beginning of the chart, the beginning of the zodiac, we call Aries. And so, of course, going over that 0 point at Aries, which is already a party, we have Saturn and Neptune, which have been sitting right there at that spot. Saturn has just retrograded. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Into Pisces. So yeah, we have a time to catch our breath, see what it is that the eclipse brought, what we're supposed to let go of, what we're supposed to get in the flow with, and what messages. Hollis has had a ton of South Node, which it's definitely South Node energy, which is people from the past, people from, who knows how far past, like all of a sudden get, birthday message for Hollis or who knows what, total South Node energy. So has that happened to you? Please let us know in the comments. Are you having people pop out of the woodwork from your past in a surprising way? We're like, oh my God, guess who I heard from? That's what we're talking about. So before we get started, what do you say we...
Perfect. I just want to listen to you for a minute.
Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what I'm listening for.
Yeah, Alyssa, let us know if you can hear both of us at the same time in a good way.
I might need to unmute.
Probably.
All right. So everybody to just take this minute. Can you guys still hear her while I'm talking now that I'm unmuted? Not sure it will work. Keep playing. Okay. Okay.
Thanks, Bianca.
So I invite you now. Maybe close your eyes or just kind of relax a minute. Allow the tension to roll off your back. Allow your muscles and your body to just relax. And as you come into your presence, I want you to imagine yourself way out. Way out in your space, floating freely, with no attachments. Nothing to interrupt you, and just gentle music carrying you along. Sun's warmth at your back. The solar system. See if that sounds better now, Donna. Does that sound much better? Yeah. Thanks for being our sound person. And take this moment. Just imagine your body relaxing, being held by the music. And imagine yourself within the universe. The planets seem to be doing their rotation. There are stars as far as you can see. And in this moment, you become aware of the planet Mercury. And as Mercury pulls you in closer, you recognize that it is surrounded by a goddess figure most of us see as Virgo. And within her belly is the symbol for Mercury. Holding it in perfect goddess divinity. The goddess holding the most sacred to all of the human race. Communication. All forms of communication. Visual, verbal, psychic, all of the ways that we communicate in all of the ways. The way we hold our bodies, the way a smile is interpreted when you walk by a stranger. The gentleness of someone's voice, the confidence in a leader's voice. And while the words definitely matter, the goddess shows that all parts of communication matter. No matter the words. And Mercury is amplified in this moment with the sun shining behind it, amplifying communication in the cleanest, most complete way possible, including all of the details, all the ins and outs, helping us, humanity, to prepare for the next stages in our life. As we transform and move on to the next moment, Mercury and the goddess Virgo reassure us of our connection, not only to each other, not just to nature, but to the divine as well. A sacred connection beyond words. And as Mercury releases you back into outer space and once again floating within your body and relaxing. You become aware of the body that you are in. And you can feel your feet on the floor. You can feel your body that you're in. You can hear my voice and the music. And I invite you to open your eyes and become present to Rainbow Soul Astrology Hey. Well done, Bright Hawk.
Well, thank you. Oh. All right. There we go. How's everybody? Hopefully you could hear us. Still seem to be working this out. Got me a new camera. Hopefully the sound's better.
Yeah.
All right.
So did anyone want to share anything that happened in their with the eclipse or anything? Make sure you put that in the comments. We'd love to hear about what happened with this lunar eclipse in Pisces. Considering your own placements, like how did it affect you? What happened? Did something completely get flipped over? Let me just say the most hilarious thing was, to me, both of my grandchildren are Virgo rising, both of them. Okay. And I virtually homeschool them every day, if you didn't know that. And on Friday, I was like, where did they go? These kids are way too sweet, nice, kind, and polite. And I asked my son what he did with his kids. It was hilarious. They were completely flipped over. Of course, we reflipped back today, but you count your blessings when it comes to children, if you know anything about that. Some days they're a little bit more cooperative than others, but I just thought it was interesting that that they were polite, cooperative, and all this other stuff on Friday. I just thought it was interesting. My grandson was very emotional today, but he moved past it. Hi, Nelia. She's saying that she was very emotional this weekend, especially yesterday. Well, Nelia, that's to be understood, right? With the moon in Pisces, I definitely could feel some major anxiety myself over the weekend. And with my birthday and the eclipse being directly on top, the solar eclipse will actually happen on the same degree as my sun. The moon is exactly opposite my sun. So, Nelia, I wonder where it's happening for you in your chart. Like, what's in Pisces, what's in Virgo, because you always have to, when it's an eclipse especially, but it pretty much applies to almost any transit, you always want to learn about the opposites. And one of the best ways that I took a lot of like astrology 101 type courses Bright Hawk and I did, and I think the best way to understand it and the best way I've been able to teach it is to learn the axis, the opposites. Because when you start to learn the opposites, it very quickly you become aware of not only the axis in the chart of the opposites, which helps you understand in opposition, which can be quite difficult at times. So for instance, Nelia, if you have the sun in Virgo and the moon was in Pisces, it would be opposite your sun. Now, of course, if you had something in Pisces, it would also affect to that. but because it was opposite, oppositions are sometimes hard to resolve, right? They're just kind of there. And I kept telling myself that this weekend, as I would find myself anxious with no good resolution to the things that I'm dealing with. So I'm just saying that it doesn't always have a good resolution, and kind of the best thing you can do is try to find some sort of balance. The best thing I think I did all weekend was go outside and sit in the sunshine, take it in, and just try to sit there quietly for a few minutes. And then it was great. Bright Hawk came out and sat next to me after a few minutes. And then my dog, it was like a lounge chair, and I was just sitting on the edge of it, and I kind of just laid back a little bit, and my dog sat on my head. He's a black lab. It's not unnoticeable. It's not a small dog. But I'm just gonna say, like, sometimes in those moments you just have to count your blessings, right? So um so I'm just saying that that's kind of the way an opposition is. Nelia, I'm not sure why you were crying. If you knew why you were crying, maybe you didn't even know. Maybe Pisces is in like your 8th house or your 12th house or something. It really does depend on where things are. Okay. It really does depend on your chart. And so I suggest that all of you take a look at the Pisces Virgo axis. Wherever they are in your circle chart, they will be opposite each other. Okay. Well, Nelia, maybe next time you'll have that opportunity. There'll probably be a next time, I'm sure. Okay. When the solar eclipse, maybe. Okay. But that won't be for a couple of weeks now, right now. So now we're going to be in between the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse. We'll be sharing the charts with you here in just a moment. And so I just want to say, whatever you went through this weekend was destined. Okay. Maybe, Nelia, maybe you're just releasing some old stuff that's got to go, with the South Node in Virgo. I felt like I was releasing stuff. So, so pay attention to that. Give room for that, you guys. And, all right. So Nelia said, yes, I knew, but it was bad. I couldn't stop. It was over. Okay. So it was grief. Okay. So grief, Nelia, it sounds like you lost your ex-husband, and it sounds like that was pretty important. Okay. All right. Okay. It doesn't matter if we take ourselves out or not. Bright Hawk, it still leaves that little black section at the bottom there. Okay. So I'm just trying to take a look here. All right. So this is for today. Go ahead.
So what I just wanted to sort of remind us was that the lunar eclipse happened yesterday, and it happened to be at 15 degrees, right? So the sun and the moon at 15 degrees. Obviously, the sun is in Virgo, the moon is in Pisces. And of course, now we have the nodes, which is a big part of why we had the eclipse, right? So they are at 18 degrees, right? So the south node is in Virgo and the north node is in Pisces, right? So the moon is passed over that spot. And then we have Saturn retrograded out of Aries back into Pisces. So it's at 29. Moon is passing over that. And then the Neptune is still sitting at 1 degrees. And here we are. This chart is for pretty much now. Yeah, it's like from 20 minutes from now. It's for 5:55 Mountain Time. So, now we've already marched up to 18 degrees. Let's see. Let me move. I can't really see the chart as clearly as I can if I look there.
Just open it up.
Yeah. So now we have, at this moment, the moon at 3 degrees Aries. So I'll be curious. You've been emotional all day, but right now, literally right now, we have a void of course moon for the next hour from 5:45, which is, it's 5:30 right now. It's going to start in a few minutes. So I'll be curious if you feel less emotional and things start to feel a little bit clearer. There's a lot of Pisces energy placements. Like I said, the latter half of Pisces tends to be very emotional, tends to feel a lot, and isn't always clear about what they're feeling because they don't always see things clearly. Think about If you were trying to see through the water, right? You don't see clearly. You don't hear clearly. You feel everything. And so that's the North Node and Saturn as well, still sitting in Pisces, of course. And now I wanted to kind of point out as we're integrating this eclipse energy between what we just had with the lunar eclipse, and of course, September 21st just happens to coincide with the equinox, will be the solar eclipse. And so here's the chart that what I thought was kind of give you a little bit of a big picture is all those outer planets are now retrograde. So starting with Saturn, we just talked about how it was in Aries, now it's stepped back into Pisces. It'll turn right around Christmas time, 1228. It'll come back and step into Aries on Valentine's Day, 214, and carry on, right? Uranus is retrograde, but it won't be for too long, 11/8. It'll literally turn right at the 0 degree and go back. So I was like, oh, when is it actually go? Nope, it's right there. It doesn't go all the way back. So it turns on 3/2/26. Oh wait, I was thinking about Pluto. Never mind. See, we have all these retrograde energy, every single one of the outer planets, right? So Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And we could talk about each of them. You can also read the big picture, and I'm going to let you take it away, Hollis.
Okay.
So first I want to say that so yeah, so what I wanted to first of all talk about is that Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune are in pretty much a perfect trine right now, but they're all retrograde, okay? And that's in Aquarius, Aries, and Gemini. Well, they're not in a grand trine, but they're in a minor trine. And I think that that's pretty significant as far as our government goes, as far as our world scale goes. These tend to be bigger planets. And so they often affect, there's a reason why they call some planets personal planets. And then they call these planets sort of generational planets, or they're larger movements. It takes longer amount of time for our government and for our culture to make changes, and I think there's major changes going on right now. There's huge questions about what is right and what is wrong, and a review of, wait a minute, didn't you say this, and wasn't this said, and how, but what about this? There's a lot of review of old stuff in the past, and I think that's the retrograde energy, plus the South Node is on the sun. The South Node has been traveling through Virgo for the last for most of this year, but it's currently with the sun right now. And I think the sun, anything that it touches, it tends to amplify, right? And the Mercury is coming through it and will be Cazimi with it later this week. I think it's Friday. And I believe that's going to probably bring some important communication forward for us. I think the last time it happened, there was an important announcement about news or something on a grand scale about the past. And I'm pretty sure it was actually about the Epstein files or something. So, these are pretty important topics, and I think to the general public, especially to Americans, and maybe to other countries too. And I think there are other topics that are happening in other countries where we're visiting what is important to you. What are your values? What does this mean? And that's usually what retrograde means anyway. It has you reviewing that sort of information. And with Pluto and Aquarius, it's saying, are you willing to come together as one people? Is this important enough for you all to come together, right? Because Pluto and Aquarius is about the collective. It's about the collective standing up to to, standing up and saying what they want and standing up to, because Pluto is about power and control. I believe that Pluto retrograde in Aquarius makes us, the collective, say to ourselves, wait a minute, do we have enough power and control here? Are we recognizing what exactly that means to us as a collective, right? Like, how much power do the people really have? And I think the people are starting to realize. There's a lot of people protesting almost every weekend in the United States. There's a protest going against the government at this point, and they're pretty large protests. They are not small. They are not a couple hundred people. Those are thousands of people, and people are starting to come together. And not only then, there are also people that are saying, wait a minute, I'm an elected official by the people, and I feel that I need to do the right thing, which is great, which has a lot to do with Uranus going retrograde in Gemini and Neptune going retrograde in Aries. I believe all of those three planets talking to each other, because Aries is often, while it is represented by war and fighting and chaos, sometimes it is also represented by vigilante, doing the right thing, being a hero that kind of saves the day, right? And Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So it's really about feeling and emotional. And I think that the Epstein files hits a very sensitive spot for most people, regardless of what side you're on or whatever. I think that it hits a sensitive spot because of the prevalence of inappropriate behavior with children. And I think a lot of people have experienced that. And then therefore, that's why this is so important to so many people. It's obvious to me. And then Uranus retrograde in Gemini, I feel like that also brings a lot of power to people questioning what exactly is right and wrong, and what should be shared and what should be on the stage. And I think in a larger scale, that's what's happening. And on Monday, today, that's still part of this experience and what's happened late last week and over the weekend, with like some of the conservative politicians coming forward and kind of demanding that they hear about the Epstein files. That's very much part of this eclipse. That's very much part of that minor trine. And we're seeing it on the world scale. Now, in your personal lives, you might be seeing some things revealed. Some things might come into your awareness that are important, that you have to address. Maybe there's something you need to say. Maybe there's something you need to discover about yourself, or something needs to be revealed about your well-being or your wellness, especially because Virgo is involved. And when Virgo is involved, it's usually about wellness, whether it's mental health or not. But I think that there's also on Tuesday, there is a T square pointing to Jupiter and Cancer with with Mars and the Moon. And even Chiron is involved in that conversation. It's Mars, it's Mars in Libra, which tends to be a little bit quieter because Libra, it's in its fall in Libra, but it is in a square to Jupiter. So I feel like there could be some hiccups around saying exactly what you mean or doing exactly what you meant to do, especially with the moon transiting through there on Tuesday. But I think other than that, everything else is doing pretty well. And most of us should be just integrating and learning and listening to what are the messages, right? Because Jupiter is also in a trine to the North Node. And that's really about where we're coming from. Jupiter is very much trying to expand our lives. And I keep asking myself, what is this eclipse to teach me? I've had quite an intense experience, actually. And both good and bad. Okay. And I have to ask myself, what exactly am I supposed to be learning from this? And maybe I'm supposed to learn all those things, right? Both good and bad. And so make sure you stay open to the lessons and open to the universe's guidance. The universe is trying to guide you towards what's good for you, the North Node in Pisces, especially anything that has to do with like emotions or emotional awareness, um, anything that has to do with where you're headed in life, especially if you have some strong placements in Pisces. And also because Saturn's there, it might have something to do with a little bit with your work in the world or how you express in work. And I think that if we're listening, we'll know exactly what those messages are. And I think with Jupiter, it's very much speaking to where you live, Jupiter in Cancer. It's also speaking to what you need to learn. Cancer loves to learn, and about family and who's connected to you and who's in your immediate circle. I think that all of those kinds of topics could be coming up for you right now. And so just listen and try to allow for guidance. Try not to like cling to any one thing, like try not to cling to just sadness or cling to anxiety. Just allow it. Like I experienced a lot of anxiety during the lunar eclipse. I literally, Bright Hawk put the eclipse up on her computer and I literally could see it happening on the video, and I could feel it. Like I could feel the anxiety coming up for me in a variety of ways, and it had a lot of connections, and I just kind of allowed it, right? There's a way that you can do that with your emotions where you can just allow. And I think that is like the best thing you can do when uncomfortable emotions happen, is to just allow. Just kind of, and just take some deep breaths and allow for it to come through. So it looks like I've already, Brighthawk moved the chart to Tuesday. Thank you. And so I just want to acknowledge that. Brighthawk, did you have anything you wanted to add about Tuesday? I think that T-square will be very quick passing. You'll need to.
Not really. I noticed on both the Facebook feed and this feed that there many folks said it was very emotional. So I'll be curious now that it's been a very emotional day. We literally are at this moment entering the void of course moon, where we leave watery Pisces, we step into fiery Aries. You got to take a minute. That's like stepping out of the pool into the sauna. You're going to like take a minute to breathe and ground. It'll be a very different energy. And it's not a very long void of course moon. So it's while we're together, frankly. And Tuesday, we have an Aries moon. It'll start to conjunct Chiron and in Aries. And of course, Chiron is all about the healer, the wounded healer, the learning the lessons that we would never ask for, but oh wow, that really helped me learn what I needed to learn, whatever that wound happened to be. This is where I often say, remember, we don't suffer for no reason. There's always some other lesson unfolding, and hopefully gift that comes from realization and inspiration from, oh wow, I get it now. I see what I was supposed to learn. I know what I'm supposed to do as I go forward. So moon in Aries is always cat on a hot tin roof. That's what they say, because Aries, of course, is fiery and aggressive, and the moon is watery and compassionate. So when you put these things together, it's an uncomfortable energy. The moon just frankly isn't very comfortable in Aries. And so it's going to answer to Mars, and it's in opposition to Mars right now. So moon in Aries in opposition to Mars try to not get into any fights. Try not to say things that you can't unsay. Just again, I would emphasize gentleness. Try to lean into the Virgo for compassion and, seeing the bigger picture. Aries tends to, so chill. I would temper that being in opposition to Mars and Libra. Mars and Libra is justice. So um, that'll be also very interesting because they've passed over the world point. And so some of what Hollis was talking about, how this unfolds, the world point, of course, is 1 degree Aries, 1 degree Aries. And that's where Neptune has been sitting and Saturn was, but now Saturn's moved back into Pisces. So yeah, be gentle. We got that little opposition, and when it comes out, I'll be curious to see if you feel differently. If you're like, oh, I'm getting what we're talking about with this moon transition thing. If you're a Cancer, you should be very familiar with, wow, my moon changes every couple days. Like, swing. All right, let's talk about Wednesday, shall we?
Okay.
There we go.
So Wednesday, is just, I think that most of the days are going to be us integrating whatever we got from the eclipse, whatever happened. I think most of this week, that's going to be the theme. Okay, we're going to be integrating whatever happened or the lessons that we're carrying from there. Maybe we're starting new habits. Maybe we're trying to integrate things that we need to do about our health or something like that. So Wednesday, and I feel like Wednesday with the moon moving into Taurus could be a nice quiet day, which we could all be happy for. Although I will say that like Thursday, Thursday, even I would say that Wednesday and Thursday are pretty quiet days. Things should come together fairly easily, even though we're in eclipse season, even though like we've had some maybe a pretty intense weekend emotionally. Maybe we're just kind of be glad to be moving on and kind of figuring out what we need to do to manage that a little bit better. And as we go forward on I'm looking at Thursday, but the Cazimi, which is when Mercury and the Sun come directly into the same degree in the same sign. They're both in Virgo, and Mercury and the Sun. We had actually one of these not too long ago. And I believe they are related because I'm pretty sure that was during an announcement or something in from the government or something. So I'm just gonna say that usually this is an amplification or like an announcement. With the Sun and Mercury, it's an amplification of communication. So you might get some sort of message. There might be something announced at work. It could really depend on where Virgo is in your chart. You could hear something from someone, especially with the South Node there. Like Bright Hawk said, I'm getting all kinds of people reaching out to me from the past. It's a very interesting thing. And I would say that, just being open to those messages, listening to those messages, and staying open to that this week, that's the most important thing. Is I want you to be focused on what people say, what gets announced, and where it comes from. Especially because this isn't we're technically in eclipse season, and some of it could help you with whatever you're struggling with your eclipse. Especially whatever you're going through, whatever you're integrating, whatever manifestations you're working on. It sounds like Donna Carter is breaking into some heavy depression, and she's releasing and renewing. So, Donna, you could hear something this week that would be really helpful in that area, maybe a new habit or something that helps you kind of integrate that. Alyssa said it makes sense why I went from super emotional to ready to fight, that kind of energy. Pisces sun and North Node, South Node in Virgo, and my Jupiter is in Aries as well as MC in Virgo and Venus. Whew, man, Alyssa, you're feeling it, aren't you? Leo rising and a Gemini move with Jupiter and Gemini, huh? Yeah, so Jupiter's on probably in the same sign as your moon right now too, Alyssa. So so that's a lot. Like that's a lot for you, Alyssa. No wonder you're going through a very intense time, but just know that this intense time, when you experience these intense transitions, that they really help you transition into something better, right? So even when stuff feels really intense, just hang in there, and it's happening for a reason. And I feel like that's really what's going on. And I think by the end of the week, we're all going to have some very important messages come through. I think by Friday, with the Mercury Cazimi, I think we're going to really get to know some important things. And over the weekend, I think for the most part, things will be pretty easy, except that, there might be some internal processes or something with relationships that has to do with Chiron, especially if you've been dealing with some relationship things, or it depends. Chiron's in Aries right now. So if you happen to be about 50 years old or so, you're in your Chiron returns, which is what I'm going through, which for me tends to be about my health. So, so pay attention to that if you're like in your mid to late 40s, and especially if you're around 50 years old. That's really gonna push on that Chiron, and then Chiron's gonna come into opposition on Saturday to Mars. Now Mars is in Libra, so it's actually quite quiet. It means the conflict could be sort of under the surface. It could be passive aggressive. It could be it's not going to be right out in your face. It's going to be something maybe that's under the surface that maybe you need to deal with, or you need to look at, or you need to make a decision about it, or something like that. Especially with Chiron and Aries, and with Mars over there in Libra, it just Mars, Mars is the ruler of Aries. And I usually think of Chiron as more of a Virgoian planet. If I was to try to assign it to a zodiac, I would say that it was ruled by Virgo. But that's just my personal, like, that's not, like, I don't think the astrology world has decided what the ruling sign of Chiron is yet. But Chiron is the wounded healer, so we could talk about that for a minute. It's a pretty important marking in your chart. It kind of looks like a key. You can see it there on the charts if you take a look. It's towards the bottom there. It's in Aries. It kind of looks like a key with a little circle. It has like a little key like formation. It's green. It's in the sign of Aries right now on the chart there. And when you look at that, you can see that it's about at about 26 degrees Aries. So the thing about Chiron is, and in this program that we're using, Astro Gold, when the number, the degree of the sign of the planet is red, it means it's retrograde. Now, most of the time, Chiron is retrograde. And what does that mean? Well, Chiron is the wounded healer. So Chiron has a lot to do with tapping into the wounds that you came in with, the stuff that came from your past life, the stuff that happened when you were a baby, you probably don't even remember. Stuff happened when you were a child, your childhood, and even past relationships, past experiences, past whatever it was. I also was interested to hear when some astrologers are exploring that Chiron could be connected to genetic disorders, just genetic health conditions. Okay. So you might want to take a look at your Chiron. Chiron is most of the time it's retrograde. And I think that's because most of us are brought into this world, maybe with something from our past life, right? Maybe something in our childhood, something from the past, and we're going to overcome it because Chiron is a very special story in that he was I'm just going to kind of sum it up as quick as I can. I recognize I won't have all the details correct, but essentially, Chiron is this healer amongst the humans and goes around healing people and does a darn good job of it and is one of the best healers of them all. And then there's this god who's like kind of messing around and shoots him, and he gets an arrow in his side, and then the god that was messing around is like, oops, I didn't mean to do that. And so then Zeus interferes and cures Chiron of this wound, or I don't know that he cures it, but he at least makes him into a demigod. A demigod is a human that's become a god. Okay. And so they make Chiron into a demigod, a wounded healer. In other words, he continues to be wounded, but he also can heal. So that means a lot of times Chiron is expressed in a way where you might have something that you're dealing with that could be quite hard from your history, from your past, and maybe you overcome it and then you help others. Maybe there's something about it that builds your resilience. Maybe there's something about your wisdom. Maybe there's something about it that you help others heal. And I definitely have a very strong Chiron in my chart. My Chiron is in a direct relationship with my sun and constantly asks me to express it in all sorts of ways, not just with genetic conditions, but with the trauma I experienced as a child. As a lot of you know, I'm a trauma coach. So I help people through trauma just partially by holding space for it, and also helping them with what I know does work, right? And it's it's not always the easiest of the asteroids. I wouldn't say it's easy, but I would say that it does give you an opportunity to build resilience. So if Mars is opposite of it in Libra this weekend, I want you to just pay attention to maybe some old patterns in relationships. Maybe there's some passive aggressive going on. Maybe you're feeling passive aggressive, Maybe there's something else going on that you need to address. Maybe there's something that's particularly difficult that you need to deal with, okay? Especially from the past. Maybe it's just the way you're thinking or feeling about something. Maybe you have to change your perspective on something. It could be as simple as that, or maybe you just need to keep taking action, even though that thing happened in the past. I've been doing a lot of that. So even though I'm struggling in this way, I still have to take action in this way. So that could be something that's driving you forward this weekend. I would definitely recognize where is Chiron in your chart, but what is in Aries? Do you have any planets in Aries? Do you have any planets? If you have planets in Aries, I would be paying attention to astrology right now, especially for the next year or so. And then, and on and beyond that, because yeah. So, and then, of course, the other people that will be feeling it strongly will be people with Virgo and Pisces placements. Those will also be feeling things fairly strongly. Bianca, you were saying that your Chiron is in the 11th house, Taurus. And so that makes me think about as Uranus pops back into later on in a month or so, Uranus is going to pop back into Taurus. It just left out of there. So I wonder what happened when that happened earlier this year when Uranus popped out of Taurus. It's going to pop back in. It's still got something it wants to talk to you about. So I would just be paying attention to that, Uranus is usually pushing you onto your life path, not always gently, sometimes gently, but often not. Sometimes it just comes in and kicks over the playing board, and sometimes it just kind of switches it around. Maybe it just kind of spins the pieces around or something like that. It's just asking you to change, so you're going to want to stay open for that. Donna Carter said that Pisces with Aquarius rising, so the fields are shifting to creating and changing my usual to wean from the screen. Okay. All right. Donna, definitely, exactly how is that playing for you? Yeah. Pisces with Aquarius rising, you got Pluto on your rising sign. It's going to be intense. Regardless of what the degree is, it will be a slow change over time. Pluto will be there for 20 years. Alyssa said mine's in the 11th house also, but it's a Gemini with my moon. Okay. Well, the thing is, Alyssa, is yours is going to have a lot to do with emotions because the moon is there, especially if they're close in degree. We call that conjunct. And if it's in the 11th house, since you both have it in the 11th house, I would say that the 11th house usually has to do with like friends or coworkers, people that people that have influence over you, landlords, those kinds of things. So you're going to want to, just pay attention to that. It's just good to know where your Chiron is because that's probably where your wound is. And that's probably also where your healing will be. And that's probably also how you'll be able to help others. So is it forward or direct? Is it retrograde? If it's retrograde, I believe in my experience, a lot of people born with Chiron in retrograde resist healing, which is most people. Most people are born with it retrograde, and I don't know why, but humans naturally seem to resist what's good for them. If you ever notice that, like we don't want to eat the lettuce, right? Okay. But we all want to eat cake, right? And cake's not good for any of us except for that it makes you happy. And that's what I mean by that. It's like we just kind of like resist what's good for us sometimes, especially with Chiron retrograde. But I notice a lot of people with Chiron direct, they won't do that so much. Their resistance, assuming that Chiron's not in a major opposition to something, if their Chiron is direct and it's in some trines or maybe just a square or something, they'll be more open to change. They'll be more open to taking the next step. I've had them come and see me, and I'm always surprised at their ability to change so quickly. Donna said it's been intense. That Libra moon always has me looking at all sides. My separation is more about the news and my codependent issues concerning my kids. Okay, Donna, that's important. Mars in Libra will definitely have you dealing with that codependency, because Libra is like, and the Libra moon, I have a Libra moon, and definitely codependency can definitely happen. The moon rules motherhood, and the Libra moon, that's just kind of your natural way of being. It's okay. It's probably who you are. And Alyssa said, yeah, mine's retrograde. I also have a multiple opposition to my Chiron. Yeah, Alyssa, I totally get it. Me too. Me too. Me too. I have a stellium in Libra and I have Chiron in Aries. So, it's and it's retrograde. Yeah. And I typically resist things. I totally get it. But at least if you know that you're resisting, then you could be like, wait a minute, I'm resisting that. Could that be good for me? That's what I've started to do, Alyssa. Now when I resist something, I'm like, wait a minute. And I just start to go towards that thing that I'm resisting. And a lot of times, and sometimes it takes me a while to move through the resistance. But I think just pushing through it anyway is kind of what gets you there. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Bright Hawk?
Okay, you took me off mute, so don't keep hitting it. I just wanted to point out we have a void of course moon all day on Wednesday, all day. So when the moon moves out of Aries into Taurus, the void starts at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, and it goes till 8 p.m. all day. We're talking to 13 hours. So it's moving out of fire into earth, right? So sometimes people say they feel like they're more productive during a void of course moon because they feel more focused and there's not a lot of energy drama, emotional drama. The void of course moon on Friday is a little one, 8:15 p.m. Mountain Time to 9:40. I kind of have a rule that unless it has to be at least an hour for me to put it on the chart. Otherwise, it's so short you barely notice and we have enough to talk about, so I try not to get it just too busy. And Sunday again, Sunday night, 8:15 to 9:40 p.m. when the moon moves out of Gemini into Cancer. And of course, when the moon moves back to Cancer, it comes home. So we feel good when we're at home. And the moon, when it passes through Gemini, we're thinking good thoughts and great networking and good energy that way. So that's what's going on with the moon that way. And yeah, I love the sharing and hearing how people are integrating and what they're working to let go of because it's a shedding moon, right? When it's waning, it's shedding. A south node lunar eclipse is about the past, about what needs to be let go of, what the thing about an eclipse is all of a sudden you realize you've already changed and you've let go of something and you didn't even notice. Oh, you know what? I haven't done XYZ and I don't even miss it or whatever. So, yeah, happy integration. And may you have a beautifully blessed week.
All right.
So I'm going to take this down and I'm going to do the horoscopes for all the signs for the Kazemi. So you have some idea of where that message might be coming from. It's going to be an amplification of a message. And I would say that it could be in regards to your health, even if that is like mental health or spiritual health or something like that. Like I would be paying attention to that. I think that that's really important. I'm not going to share the chart because I'm not sure everybody really knows what I'm doing there. But I am going to talk about each sign. So, maybe at some point, Bright Hawk, I make a little frame that like you blink up the different signs as we're going through. That's a good idea. Just appealed to me. Huh, see, I already getting the messages. It's very like me to get it a few days early. Okay, so this will be on Friday. Okay, this is on Friday when the Mercury and Sun are Kazemi. This is your horoscope for Friday, September the 12th. Starting with Aries, this is a horoscope for Aries this week. Aries, this is going to have everything to do with your day-to-day life and work. What is it about that you, or it could be about your health too, or like how you're taking care of yourself? So that's like wellness and things like that. Aries, like, are you exercising? Are you meditating? Are you eating healthy? Those kinds of things, Aries. Open your eyes and pay attention because the messages are coming through. The universe is trying to speak to you and deliver you messages. So make sure you listen to whatever gets delivered on that day. It will be incredibly important. It will be important for you to listen to that. And I will also say, Aries, that this is also a good time for you to really pay attention to like your day-to-day life habits, not just about wellness, but maybe it has to do with money or something else that has to do with your day-to-day life, including your work in the world, Aries, including your work in the world. Okay, especially maybe something that you didn't notice too much, or maybe something emotionally that you were not really paying attention to, or something like that, because the lunar eclipse did happen in the 12th house for you, Aries. Maybe because it was in the very next sign, it may have been a little bit difficult this weekend for you to even know where those emotions were coming from. And now, though, you're going to get a message in regards to your health and your day-to-day life. So be paying attention, Aries. I'm pretty sure this eclipse this Mercury Cazimi with the sun will deliver exactly what you need to hear, exactly what you need to know. Listen up, especially at work or around your health. And it could definitely come from someone else for sure. It could definitely come from someone you know, especially someone that's in your day-to-day life. Next up, this next horoscope is for Friday for Taurus. Taurus, this has everything to do also with your day-to-day life and your work in the world, but I'm also going to say that it probably also influences your health and your fun factor. Or maybe it has to do with a little bit with the kids and your day-to-day life and how those two intermingle if you happen to have kids, or anything else that you happen to be creating, something that you've created, Taurus, something that is totally yours. So just be paying attention to some messages coming from there. What do you need to hear? What do you need to listen to? What do you need to be aware of? Try to stay open to that as you listen in, Taurus. As you listen in on these messages, they'll be coming from somebody or something that you know that will be very important. And could be in regards to your health, but it's probably more like on the happiness side of things, or what you think is fun, or with your kids, okay, or something else that you've created. Absolutely, okay. All right, now for Gemini. This is for Gemini sun, moon, and rising. This will be particularly good for Gemini rising. This is, the Cazimi, Mercury sun Cazimi, is going to happen, Gemini, in your 5th house. So this is deep in your romantic relationships. This is deep with your children, or children in your life, or what is fun for you, what is good for you, what feeds your soul, what helps you feel like you had a good time, what is fun, right? Okay. And maybe there's something that needs to be communicated about kids, or something else, about how much fun you have. Maybe you need to speak to a romantic relationships in regards to that. Maybe you need to spend some more time with your friends or something like that, Gemini. Maybe you haven't had time to do something with your friends and you need to get out. Whatever it is, Gemini, I want you to listen to it because it's coming through, especially since the moon is also going to be in Gemini on that day. So if you're really hearing that, Gemini, if you're really feeling something, I wouldn't be surprised if it has something to do with maybe your life path, or how you're expressing your life path. Maybe there's some sort of frustration or something that's going on in that regard. And I just want you to stay open, Gemini, as Jupiter tries to talk to your 2nd house of money and values. And as it moves into the 3rd house, of the 3rd house for you, Gemini, I just want you to be aware of the people around you, especially your friends and things like that. But definitely the messages could come from right out of a babe's mouth, right out of a child's mouth. I would not be surprised. Okay, Gemini. Maybe it comes out of a child's mouth. Maybe it comes out of a romantic partner's mouth. Maybe you just realize that you need to have a good time. Whatever it is, Gemini, make sure you listen to the message coming through during the Cazimi on Friday. You have to listen to yourself and take care of yourself, Gemini. And now the next is for Cancer. This is for Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. Cancer. This has to do with your home. Something in the home is speaking to you. Something in the home is speaking to who you are, yes, but there's something practical that needs to be addressed around home. Maybe you're just taking care of business at home. Maybe there's some things you need to work on at home, or some things you're trying to change at home. Anything like that. It's going to be a message in regards to that. Something's going to come through for you. It will help the overall wellness of your home, because Virgo is all about blessing that. Okay. Virgo is all about making home good. And maybe there's a suggestion or something like that from maybe one of your parents. Maybe there could be something about your parents about messages from your parents, Cancer. So be listening to that, especially in regards to your home or where you live or where you or your family of origin somehow. It could be correct, could be related to anything like that. Any of those people, including your parents, could deliver a message to you. And Cancer, I know how important family is to you. So I just want you to understand that, to just tap into that, to listen to those messages because they are important for you, Cancer. They are important for you to recognize exactly what is good for your home or good for you right now. And with Jupiter in your sign, this is good news. This is expansion. This is growth. This is you moving forward. This is you recognize something, a belief system or understanding a belief system on a deeper level. Okay. And now, oops. For Leo, this is for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, particularly for Leo Rising in particular. Leo, this is going to have everything to do with money. I don't know what's going on with money and community right now, but that's really what's happening. It's going to be about the people around you. Maybe there's some community support that you're receiving around money, Leo, or something you're doing like a fundraiser or something like that. Like you're going to get some messages around that. Could be very practical, could be very down to earth, which would be great. I feel like it will be a good thing. It will help you feel very secure. It will help you feel like you're on the right track, like you're headed in the right direction. I feel like it's going to be a good thing. So try not to get concerned about it, Leo. And just know that as you're hearing about it, as you're getting this message from the from the community, universe is trying to support you. The universe is trying to push you in the right direction there, Leo. So just listen to those messages and take action in regards to those. Try not to get upset if it's not the easiest thing, especially if it kind of triggers that Chiron a little bit. Just know to move towards anything you're resisting, especially if your Chiron's retrograde, right? Okay. Just push through it like we talked about and do exactly what you're resisting because that's probably what you need to do anyway, right? Okay, so with the Kazemi though, I'm pretty sure you're going to hear a very important message by Friday. So if you're Friday, Saturday, if you're waiting to hear from something, that's going to be on Friday. Okay, so Friday or Saturday, it could come through for you. That's during the Kazemi when Mercury and the Sun are perfectly conjunct when they are together in the sky in Virgo. I really believe that we hear messages from the divine, and it could absolutely be from like Mother Earth, could absolutely be from the goddess, could absolutely be from something really practical for you, especially something in your community. Okay, Leo? And now this is for Virgo. Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, particularly Virgo Rising. And for you, Virgo, this is going to have a lot to do with your identity. You know, like if you didn't know this whole eclipse season was about your identity, let me just turn the lights on for you. This whole eclipse is going to have an impact on who you are. It's going to impact how you see yourself, how you look, how you appear to the world, how you treat yourself, how you feel about yourself, and what's important to you, and having a realization of what those things are exactly, what is important to you, and what has meaning. And I think, Virgo, as the messages come through from the goddess this weekend, Friday, Saturday, I really want you to pay attention to that energy of you that's connected to the earth, whether it's through food or growing things or whatever it is that you work with that has to do with the planet, the earth. Maybe it's animals, okay? Whatever it is, just listen to that, Virgo, because that's what's most important. There's an important identity shift coming in for you through those parts of your life. So you could be, out working in your garden and get a download about something. Or maybe you're cooking some food and have a realization about a new health practice that would be better for you. Or maybe you're walking your dog or petting your dog and you realize something else that could help you with how you're feeling about yourself and how you've been navigating this eclipse. Mercury's definitely going to deliver a message to you, Virgo, because that's where it's happening. It's going to happen right there at 20 degrees Virgo. So take a look if your rising is in Virgo, if your sun is in Virgo, your moon. Take a look at what you have in Virgo, because that's where this Cazimi is exactly happening at 20 degrees Virgo. I hope that you can hear it. I hope that you can listen and be very aware of those practical messages coming through. Virgo's usually very practical and very down to earth. And I feel like the closer you are to the earth, the louder the message will be. Now, the next horoscope is for Libra. This is for Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Libra, you know what, Libra, you might be completely like, what message? What are you talking about, Hollis? I didn't get any message. But someone else could say, duh, don't you remember when? Okay, so make sure you listen to what other people point out for you. Okay, especially when it comes to messages or things that communications that maybe you didn't see, Libra. I know that relationships are very important to you and you could have missed something. So if there's a trusted friend or a lover or something that points something out to you, Libra, make sure you tap into that, listen to that message. It is coming through in a very practical way. You might miss it, or you might have more of like a psychic awareness of it. Maybe you're not really sure what you heard, or maybe it's a sense or something that's hidden. Or maybe you're just communicating with the dead or communicating with spirits on the other side. Those are definitely part of the 12th house there. They are unseen and you could feel disconnected from it, but I want you to believe it, Libra. If you have a conversation with someone that's passed in your head, I want you to believe it, because you are having messages now from the unseens. Listen to your spirit guides, do some meditation, listen to what other people might notice, what other people point out. Tap into that, Libra, because it will be very important part of your weekend. Now going forward, this is for Scorpio. Scorpio, this is for sun, moon, and rising, Scorpio. Now keep in mind, the people around you, what are they saying? Who's saying what, and what kind of information are they delivering to you, Scorpio? Especially for Scorpio rising, this is really going to deliver this right to you. So I would just be listening for people that have influenced you, especially from the past, because the South Node is there. So if people come from the past and they start saying things to you, I would listen up, especially if they're practical messages. Be open to those messages. Try not to resist. I know you're fiercely independent, Scorpio rising. Fiercely independent Scorpio suns, and this just isn't always our thing. Always our best is, sometimes we resist listening to others, especially in practical advice or things we know or things we think we're good at. And so this is a strong suggestion coming from people suggesting, maybe making a suggestion about things, or bringing forth information from people around you, friends, people that influence you, people, coworkers, anyone that is sort of like cousins, anyone that's kind of at your level or maybe even slightly over you in a way that influences you. I would definitely be listening to those, Scorpio rising. Just listen in, see what they have to suggest, and try to implement any suggestions, especially practical ones. And now, as we go forward to Sagittarius, this is for Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. Sagittarius, this has everything to do with your career. What's happening in your career right now? What do you need to be listening to? Someone at work make a suggestion? It could be an absolute practical suggestion, and I'm going to suggest that you listen. Okay, Sagittarius, this is very much about work or something you offer the world. What do you put out there in the world? And what practical suggestion might come through? It could definitely come through from someone that knows you at work, or someone that you work with on a day-to-day basis, Sagittarius. And this would be a really great time, especially since, this Virgo thing, this Virgo Kazemi with Mercury will will be in a square to whatever you have in Sagittarius. Probably it may not be in a perfect square, depending on if you have anything around 20 degrees in Sagittarius. It could press on some buttons for you, and so it could kind of trigger you. But your job, the best thing you could do is to move through it, okay, to push through it and to recognize what part of that can be resolved and what you can do. And now going forward, this is for Capricorn. Capricorn, the good news is, Capricorn, is that this Kazemi will be happening in Virgo, a fellow earth sign for you, which is a trine to anything you have in Capricorn. So this is going to be messages coming, from higher learning. Currently, I'm thinking of my grandson who has a stellium in Capricorn, but I'm just saying that, this Virgo Kazemi is going to be speaking directly to you, Capricorn, in a positive way. You're going to be able to hear this, especially anything about higher learning, anything maybe from a grandparent. It is in the house of grandparents. And it's also from like spiritual learning, gurus, teachers and things like that, people that bring messages through or teach you or help influence you. Capricorn, it's really important to you. I know you love to learn, and I know that that's a really important thing for you. So make sure you listen to those messages Friday, Saturday, because they will be positive, and you will appreciate those messages because they will help you get on your path. So Capricorn, listen up to those elders. Listen up to, your grandparents, your school, if you're in college, anything like that. Be listening for that and tap into that energy. The next is for Aquarius. This is for Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. It will be most accurate for the rising sign. Now, Aquarius, this is going to have everything to do, everything to do with your unseen parts, the parts of you that you don't really want to talk about or face or deal with. There's going to be a practical message that comes through. Particularly, this would be a great day, Aquarius, for you to get a reading, a psychic reading, a tarot reading, astrology reading, anything like that. And also, it could be a message about other people's money or inheritances or anything like that. So if you're waiting for that, you're going to get a message for that. And it will definitely have something to do with something you didn't, that may be something that you're not completely comfortable facing or dealing with, okay? And Aquarius, I want you to be aware of that. I want you to just stay open to that message as it's delivered to you. It's probably going to come through some sort of unseen thing. I would stay open to, like I said, like tarot. I would, if you can't afford a tarot reading, do a tarot reading for yourself. Okay, Aquarius, I know you got some oracle cards or something. At least pull a card, okay? And check out what the messages might be, because I'm pretty sure they'll come through some cards for you. Now, going forward, this is for Pisces. Pisces, this is for Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. This is going to come through a relationship. This message is going to come right from somebody you're in relationship with. It could be a lover, yes. It could also be a family member or even a child or someone else that you're friendly with or coworkers, anyone that you have a relationship with, not just someone that you know, but it's probably going to be someone that you actually have some sort of relationship with. And it could be some very practical advice or practical insight. And I would definitely listen to that, Pisces, especially since the North Node is going through your sign right now. There are messages coming from all over the place, and now's a good time to listen. So tap into those messages, Pisces, tap into that information and be open for that practical information. Even though it's opposite your sign, just be aware it's coming through from someone that you're in relationship with, someone that you care about, and you probably trust them. All right. And now we're gonna now, dang, I'm late, Sarah says. Alyssa says she has a stellium in Capricorn. Alyssa, no wonder you're always tapping into me. If you have a stellium in Capricorn, I'm a Virgo. So, especially with Mercury here, I'm going to deliver messages to you. Me and Capricorns usually get along pretty good. All right. Bianca said the facility I work has been through acquisition, which has been making me think about leaving a job I've been at for 14 years. Wow, Bianca, I've probably stayed way longer than I should. I have because I have a tendency to get stuck with what I am familiar with rather than what's best for my own well-being. Wondering if there's some tourist placements in there, Bianca. I wonder if that could be part of it. Absolutely, Bianca. Absolutely. Could be some big changes, especially if you do have Taurus placements with Uranus on its way back to Taurus. Maybe Taurus rules your MC in the top of your chart there. I don't remember your chart, but that's the top of the chart. There's an arrow called your MC. It's an arrow pointing forward. Sometimes in some software it's labeled, sometimes it's not. See what sign it's pointing to up there. Is it pointing to a Taurus sign? Taurus is that little circle with like a little half circle on top of it, right? Kind of looks like a little bullhorn, right? Alyssa said, absolutely, you're always the one I listen to and get the most from when higher learning is involved. Alyssa. Oh, Capricorns and me. Whew. Yeah. So. All right. I'm going to pull 3 cards. These 3 cards should reflect what's happening this week for you as we go forward. Thanks, Bright Hawk. Oh man, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, this is about your support. This is about us, all of us here now, talking right now, this community that you're part of, all the communities that you're part of. This is about, this is very much about like the people that support you, the people in your day-to-day life, the people in your community, the people that you love, and the people that are the people that are part of your life, the people that love you most. That's exactly what this card is about. And the universe is trying to remind you, be aware of those people, be aware of who they are and who's supporting you. Remember the support system that you have. And going forward this week, be aware with the 7 of Swords. This could very much be about maybe someone taking more than what belongs to them, or taking something kind of behind your back a little bit, or something like that, or doing something that's a little underhanded or a little bit inappropriate or something like that. I want you to stay aware of this because this could be happening right now. This is part of the reveal, right? This is part of the great reveal that's happening right now. If there's something that needs to be revealed to you, it could be revealed this week. And as it gets revealed, it could mean that maybe there's some relationships that you have to stop being in. Maybe there's some relationships you need to walk away from. Maybe there's some stuff that you need to revisit in relationship, or maybe there's just a situation or something else that you need to walk away from. And what I would say to that is that remember that you have your community. Remember the universe reminded you in the beginning that you have a supportive community. Not only do you have it here at Rainbow Soul and on my pages when we're live every night, but also, you have other supportive community. Maybe you have family or other people that love you dearly that are here to support you. And remember to don't dismiss that red flag this week. Don't dismiss that out of integrity thing that person is doing. Make sure you pay attention to that. Don't dismiss that red flag. It's important that you don't. And going forward, there could be a relationship or something or a situation that needs to come to an end. And as you walk away from that, just know that it's in your best interest And that's exactly what the universe is guiding for you.
Wow. That's always just.
Yeah. I couldn't unmute you, right? I tried, but it wouldn't let me.
Still needed. Okay. Nice. Okay, there it is. I love it. Okay. God, that was really amazing and always a pleasure to be together. Is there any other comments or questions we need to address? Oh, thank you, Alyssa. So good to see you guys and have you guys comment and share how this works for you, what your signs are, how it's relevant for you. I just want to encourage you to get a reading with Hollis. If you've never had an astrology reading, Hollis will blow your mind. I'm just going to say that. And there's lots of people who will vouch for them and their readings. I just want to say, and I also want to say happy birthday, Hollis. Love you a great deal. Big 50. Huge love. And may all of you have a great week, a great rest of your downloads and integrations from this eclipse. And much love from us. And I hope you have a great week. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soul Astrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Take care. Much love. Thanks so much for spending time with us this week. We hope you're feeling more connected to the cosmic energies in your life and what works for you. We send you lots of love on your journey. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps reach more people who could use some cosmic guidance. Hey, and don't forget to share this episode with anyone who might need or want to hear it. And we love hearing from you, so drop us a comment and let us know what resonated most for you, or if you'd like to hear something new next week. Your questions and feedback make us better. Want to join us live? Subscribe! Catch us on Facebook and YouTube. And that's where you can ask real-time questions and be part of the Rainbow Soul Astrology community while it happens. Until next week, trust your intuition. Follow your inner wisdom. And remember, the stars are always supporting your journey. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soul Astrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.